Alright, so today I've decided to start a new series and it's called Should You Buy? And there's a big game right now, and something I want to do is today we'll be seeing Should You Buy JJK Curse Clash. Now, there's a lot of bits to this game. First off, a lot of people really don't like it, which I don't understand. Personally, I think it's really good. But, of course, this is all my personal opinion, and if you've got anything different, share it in the comments, and of course, like the video and subscribe. Now, we're just going to go through everything this menu has to offer. So, first off, we got the gallery, and essentially, what the gallery is this just explains pretty much all your stats for the game. So you can see my total gained, you can see my most used, you could see most used in co-op, obviously none because I don't play co-op. You can see my total time played as well. That's my match history. As you can see, Gojo Sukuna is popular because they're like the two best right now. And in archive, there's all the stuff you've collected. Obviously, I haven't collected any, and that's all the sound and music tracks. Now let's go to the shop. The shop has multiple items. All of these items you see here are like weapons and that to help boost you in the PvE stuff. Obviously I haven't played it, but I'm tempted to try it. These are more stuff. These are online plates that like display you. Yeah, and these are the nicknames which you can have. I'm tempted to buy some of these myself because they look good. And here's the big bit, the costumes. Now, by the time of recording this, I haven't gotten any, but a lot of these costumes, in my opinion, are really good, and I'll show you one in particular, in my opinion, that is probably my favourite, just for the comedy factor and who I main alone. If you go down a bit here, you can see, there's a lot of this one. The Mahito and Hanami Juju Scroll costumes. In my opinion, these are the two funniest. And by the time this video is uploaded, I have them. And these are poses. I'm pretty sure for the victory poses. Yeah. So nothing too crazy. And these are just voice packs. These standard that come in every fighting game, like in Demon Slayer or Fighters. Now, I'm going to show you what free battle looks like. And also I'm going to address the menu here. And in my opinion, the menu looks pretty good. A lot of people compare it to a DVD, which I disagree. And this is the free battle menu. And essentially, in this menu, this is where you get everything you need. So this is where you change your character, their outfit, their style of the outfit, and who controls it. So like for Team A, I could change myself from a player to a CPU. And obviously you've got the CPU strength. But a weird part of this game is the fact that there is no local co-op yet, which is odd. Alright, these are settings for specific characters. So with Maki, it changes her strike gauge. I can't tell you what it's like because I don't play Maki. So I have no idea what it's like. But yeah, with Inumaki, it sees if he has to take the drink. With Nanami, it changes if he permanently gains cursed energy in overtime or not. But outside of overtime, as I just said, Inumaki's. Yuta's makes it so that Rika is permanently out, unless you use his ult, in which she's permanently not out, and you can't get her. Now this is the big set of settings. This displays the damage in a match. That displays if your team's health goes down or not. That depends on that affects your stamina, and the rest of these are kind of important. So obviously stage changes the stage, time changes how long. The background music is the obvious thing, and fixed cursed energy is what it's set to at the start of the match, and cursed energy consumption is how much cursed energy your moves use. And this is obviously where it explains the characters and how you learn them. Obviously, I'm not going to go through all of this now, but in a separate video, probably in a bunch of shorts, I'll go over each character. Because this game has a lot of characters and they're all quite unique. And because they all have like, I think they all have different healths. Or either that or it's just cursed energy. Alright, now it's time for the story mode. A lot of people don't like it because it's really short, which is an hour and a half. But I don't mind a short story because of Undertale was a really good short story. Now, as you can see here, I haven't actually claimed all of these yet because I haven't gone on this tab yet, so I haven't seen what it's like. And obviously this is all the bonds between the characters and everything. And look at the amount of rewards I got. But yeah, this is where you see all the bonds between the characters and everything. And the little circular marks, or the little purple marks on top of like Sukuna and Mahito, that is like if they're curses or not. And obviously the question marks are characters I haven't unlocked yet. Obviously this is more for just story, which is why it's in story mode, but yeah. Alright, these are the chapters to the story. And each story is about 20 minutes long. But as an example, if we go off of this one, if they have a little character symbol below, that would mean that it's a playable mission, like Pushing Forward Part 1. But like watching movies is just the slideshow, like in the standard format for an anime arena fighter, like in the Demon Slayer game. It's the standard, and I don't like it, but the game isn't for the story, because if you're playing this game, you've probably watched JJK. Now, this is where the interesting online happens. So, this game, on release, actually has an online lobby, which is surprising. But then this is essentially where you can create a lobby and play with your friends. It's as basic as it gets, but it's surprising enough that it has it on release, which is just amazing. But then again, it doesn't have local 2-player, so a positive for a negative. And this is the PvE where I was on about earlier in the shop. This essentially is like, as you see, rush battle is the standard, survival is when you fight opponent, when you slowly get harder and harder. And this is really interesting because I don't think, you can correct me, but I don't think a single arena fighter has it, or has this type of PvE. And now we get to arguably the biggest part of this game, and the bit that will probably last the longest, the online versus. So the way the online versus works is, unlike a lot of games like Demon Slayer, which I've already stated, which I will do a should you buy on Demon Slayer as well, just so you can get an idea. But surprisingly, there's 2 game modes. Ranked, which is the standard, but shockingly, Exhibition, which is like your casual for like fighting if you don't want to constantly have to grind and rank up. If you want some standard chill fighting, you go to Exhibition. So yeah, that's everything. So now we're going to go into just a little bit of gameplay, probably just about a match in free battle and then a match online, to show you what I think of the game, and I'll go over the combat as we go through. So the standard that I do personally for free battle to make it exciting is I usually put it on all random, although constantly I like to not set my own character to random, so I'm going to change it back. But as a standard, I'll just play Yuji. But most of the time, I do enjoy. No, doesn't matter. or it shouldn't. Right, so hopping into our first battle here. It's me and I can't even remember this guy's name. This is Megami and Maki. And this is one thing I like about the battles, is the openings. And not only that, just how the game looks. Because people got upset because they thought the game looked terrible, which I don't think so. I personally think the game looks really good. Now, here's an interesting thing. The combat itself. The combat has a lot of layers to it, and they're all pretty fun in of themselves. But here's one big mechanic I enjoy. Joint attacks. So if one player, say you're on PlayStation, and a player backward squares, it will essentially launch them into the air, leaving them open for another player. This is a big mechanic for multiple reasons. First off, it's a really good way to build early curse meter. And another thing is it's a good way to just get out of a fight for a minute and take a breather. Because that's a big thing with games like this, is you want some animations to last longer so that you could get a breather and just a chance to calm down during a fight, so you're not so tense all the time. And a lot of people should know this because this game got a lot of hate kind of for this. But the most interesting part about this game, I'd say, is how you attack, the combat itself, which is what I'm on about, so it makes sense. To put it simply, a normal attack would not deal damage. So you see how with my combo, like look at this. You see with that combo, I do that attack at the end, and that's the bit that deals damage. You can only deal damage with attacks that have cursed energy. So very few attacks. Black Flash is in this game, and it's unblockable. But I'll go more into detail about that when I do the UG video. But yeah, that's... And also, if you saw just then, when I did a joint attack, but I followed it up instead of my teammate, that's because if a teammate can't get to a joint attack, another thing you could do with it is use it as a free combo starter. Which is what I like to do because it just makes the most sense. Like there, he wasn't able to get to it, so that if that was a real player, he'd have the option to just be able to just go for it and get a combo off. That there is a really good combo if you don't want to deal damage and just go straight for curse meter. But every character in this game, I'd say, is balanced. Like, say Gojo, everyone talks about how busted Gojo is because Hollow Purple and Blue and Infinity. But the big thing is, he gets countered by a lot of people who can cancel his attacks. Like Nobara, she's really good at countering Gojo when he's charging up his red and purple. And another character who's really good at cancelling it is also Jogo, because he's all range too. Which just makes, but a big reason people don't like Jogo, or at least I don't like Jogo, is because of how he plays. He doesn't have any close range options. Which, when I'm a fan of characters like Yuji, it just doesn't help. And here's a big part, the Awaken moves. I really like these moves, just for the basic of, they look pretty nice, some of them, or most of them actually. And like I said with joint attacks, they're a real good way to just get out of the combat for a minute. And Black Flash kick. And yeah, and the AI isn't like most anime games, where it's either really dumb or it's really difficult. In this game, it actually feels balanced. Like, you set it to a difficulty, and that difficulty actually stays like that. Or it feels like it stays like that. But now it's time for the big one, an online match. And for the basic of this, We're gonna go into the rank match to just show you what it's like. There's a lot of things I like about this online compared to other games, but there are some things that are kind of annoying, but we'll get to it. First off, that match was found really quick, and I want to say that's probably because of how new the game is. But I like to think this game can live long term. It's like, what am I going to do with it when it doesn't last long term? We got unlucky and picked someone who's not going to hold down someone who doesn't know to hold down the button. Which is just unlucky. Because that means we have to wait, but it's fine. Yeah. People said that the only way you're going to enjoy this game is if you're playing as either one of the curses or your Gojo. And I disagree with that, just because a lot of these characters have pretty big chances to get popular. Players are just not putting in the dedication to learning the characters to be able to get them to that stage, which I find to be annoying. But for the first time ever, we actually got the stage I picked. Hey, thanks to then picking Todo Yuji, I get to show you another thing. It's gonna happen right after these two character openings. There we go. So basically, characters will have two characters that have relations will have custom openings, like Todo and Yuji. There's a few others like Nanami and Gojo and that. But some of them are more obvious than others. It's time to actually get into an online match. And we can actually address one of my issues really quickly, is how slow this feels. Not just by, I mean, the combat feels slow. I think the combat is fine enough. It's a good pace to the point where it doesn't get confusing or annoying to try and play. I mean, the internet speed is making this feel really slow. Like, this move is, like, it feels like there's a massive amount of far too much lag on each hit. And in my opinion, it kind of ruins the online experience. There's actually a way you can see a big flaw with how people play this game. Is how Todo and Yuji are playing. They're both playing together far too, like, focusing on one player at a time. No, focusing on, so they both focus on a single player, which is just a bad idea, because that leaves the second player. It's like, if, say, actually I can show you, the match will show you in a second. Like, first off, if you're fighting Mahito, it's going to be a pain because he has his little goblin things to send out, which, if left alone, will deal a lot of damage and give him a free combo. Oh, our teammate took out the Todo. Yeah. And this is, I'd have to say, the maps in this game are really unique. Like, we weren't, like, no one was expecting the maps in this game to be this good. But they are compared to a lot of other anime games. And now, I get to show you a big flaw of people's playstyles in this game. And also, you can't see because of the stupid black mark on the bottom left. But I've got a bunch of little things. Also, this is, you already got shown, but this is Yuji's ult. And in my opinion, it's probably one of the worst. Probably just because it's really basic. It's not bad per se. There's just nothing specifically good. And this is why you don't want two players to focus on one. People like this who have a domain expansion. Personally, I think this animation is fire. Because domain expansions, they don't hit in a specific area, they can hit cross map. So whilst two players were focusing on my UG, I could run away, set up my domain, and then that puts us at a big advantage, even more than we already were. Because they only have 2 bars of team gauge left, and we have 4. So they're at a big disadvantage already. Let alone by the fact that they're now in my domain, and they take and their damage is reduced, but mine is increased. That also puts them at a pretty big disadvantage. But in my opinion, the domains are actually really balanced. Although here's an issue that I had. When you lock in on a player, it only locks onto the player that you went to attack first. So you saw how I was locked on to Todo, but then I switched to UG mid charge up. Oh yeah, and domain expansions aren't permanent as well. They only have a short timer. And so with openings, joint attacks are the exact same in the sense that they could be custom depending on the characters that appear. This is a good example, and another one is Nanami and Gojo. And here's another flaw. Then let me charge that up and get that hit off. And different characters have different ways of doing a joint attack. Mahito's is these spike things, but the hitbox on them is really difficult because you just don't expect it. And this is a case of why I think Mahito is probably the best character in this game, and he will be for a while. Because of just how he plays. Like, look, I'm all the way back here, but because I coughed up one of my beans, got up here, waited, and then the second he jumped, there was nothing he could do. So we won the match because of it. And now we go into my final opinion. My final opinion on this game is it's really good. If you're someone who's enjoyed games like Demon Slayer game but wish it could be slightly slower but more diverse in the characters, you'll get a really big joy out of this game. But overall, what do I think of this game? I think this game is you should buy it. If you, like I just said, if you're someone who liked the Demon Slayer games, you'll like this game. That's it, everyone.